Welcome to the training course for Surface Hub. My name is Joe, and I'll be your host for this session, which focuses on the whiteboard and collaboration using Surface Hub. Microsoft Whiteboard is a Windows app that's downloadable from the Microsoft Store and runs on any Windows 10 device, iOS device, and in a web browser. It is a digital canvas that enables everyone to brainstorm and collaborate from any location at any time. Shared whiteboards can be edited by anyone with access, and changes made are seen by all participants in real time. Making the transition from a dry erase whiteboard is easy, and once you do, you'll never go back. You can launch Microsoft Whiteboard from the Welcome screen or from the Start menu and use it on Surface Hub. You can use it without signing in, but signing in enables you to save whiteboards to the cloud and reopen previously started whiteboards. If you don't sign in, the whiteboards can be exported as an image and emailed, which we'll walk through later in this chapter. The canvas is infinite, so you aren't limited by just the size of the screen. Feel free to let your creativity run loose. The Surface Hub 2 pen that comes with the device is already paired and ready to go out of the box. But you can also use touch to draw and interact with the whiteboard. Microsoft Whiteboard includes a variety of tools for creativity, and because the Whiteboard app is frequently updated by Microsoft, new tools and features can show up regularly. That's why it's important to have a good idea of some of the ways you can use the whiteboard and expand on the possibilities as new features are made available. Please see the notes section for the complete training scenario. Microsoft Whiteboard on Surface Hub now includes a What's New button in the top left corner, which will take you to videos and more information about features. The toolbar at the bottom of the screen contains both pen tools like ink colors and highlighters, as well as content like sticky notes, text, and images. The combination of objects and ink enables you to use Whiteboard for many collaborative activities, such as brainstorming, retrospectives, sprint, and project planning. Here, use the pen to select a color.
Is this a rainbow color?
It is, yeah. Go ahead and draw some shapes.
And what do these other buttons on the pen do?
Great question. You can see that there are tools on the toolbar. One is an eraser, and the other is used to select objects. The button on the back of the pen is an eraser, so if you make a mistake, just turn the pen around and erase. The faster you move the eraser across the board, the larger the eraser area. The button on the barrel of the pen is a selection or lasso tool. These buttons speed up work on the whiteboard because now we can draw, erase, select, and move objects without changing pen tools.
Do I have to completely circle the shape?
Yes. Only objects that are completely inside the circle will be selected. Once you've selected an object or a group of objects, a menu of options is displayed. One of the best things about Microsoft Whiteboard is that, unlike traditional whiteboards where all of the content is fixed in place, here we can move, copy, and paste content on an infinite canvas. This really takes ideas to the next level. Let's start the meeting with an agenda.
So if I write the word agenda, is there a way to make it easier to read?
Absolutely. Use the button on the side of the pen to select the ink and draw a circle around it. Then select the Magic Wand tool to use a feature called ink beautification. It makes your ink look better and converts it into text on the back end. The ink grab tool can be used to convert an image into live ink on the whiteboard.
Yeah, but what if my handwriting is like really bad?
Handwriting recognition is a feature that Microsoft is constantly improving, but of course, everyone's experience may vary. The key here is to get familiar with how you might use these tools in a real brainstorming session. A great example is a workflow diagram. Of course, we could draw our own shapes, but Microsoft Whiteboard also includes a feature that turns our drawn shapes into shape objects that look great. To turn this feature on, we use the Options menu in the top right corner. When we turn on Ink to Shape, any shapes we draw are transformed into their closest shape. For example, squares, circles, and triangles. Let's see what a workflow diagram would look like with ink to shape. Ink to shape takes our drawn shapes and make them look much better. We have a start, an end, and some steps in between. In our meeting, someone has asked if we can add a step in the middle of the process that we forgot we needed. We know how to select objects, so go ahead and select the objects we need to move. Once we have them selected, we can use touch to move the selected objects around on the whiteboard. When you're done, touch anywhere else on the whiteboard to deselect the objects. Now we have enough space in the workflow to add the step that we missed. Let's insert a sticky note that identifies the change we just made. Tap the Insert button on the toolbar and select Note. Make a note about adding the step to the process, and then move it to the step in the diagram.
Can I change the color of the note?
Yes, you can. Select the palette to change the color. You can use the whiteboard as a giant virtual noteboard for project planning and ideas, with different color and different size notes as content. Our whiteboard doesn't just include ink, we can also bring in pictures from almost any source and work with them on the whiteboard. Pictures can be moved and resized, and we can annotate on them with ink, and they can be converted to ink. Let's imagine for a minute that we're doctors examining a patient's x-rays. And we have the image of the file of the x-ray. We can bring it into the whiteboard and use ink to call out what we see. Here we're going to insert an image that we have saved to OneDrive. When we select Insert Image, we can browse to the location of the image and then add it to the whiteboard. Use one finger to tap and select the image, then use one finger to move and two fingers to rotate and resize. Now that it's bigger, we can clearly see where the break has occurred in our patient's x-ray. So go ahead and use the pen to annotate on the picture so we can show it to the patient.
Doctor, are we going to be able to save them?
From the looks of it, I think they're going to be just fine. If we have inserted a photo that we took of a traditional analog whiteboard, then we can use that ink grab tool to convert it to live ink, as if we drew it on a Surface Hub all along. There are a lot of great ways that we can use pictures as content on our whiteboard. Everything from planning a large event, designing a new logo or product, coaching a sports team. The opportunities are really only limited by your imagination. Just because it's called Microsoft Whiteboard doesn't mean we have to use it as a blank whiteboard. Sometimes a blackboard is easier to read, or we'd prefer to start with a grid so we could sketch out a floor plan. In the options menu we looked at before, one of the options is Whiteboard Background. Let's see what we can change the background to.
Oh, there's a grid, and you can change the color too?
We could make each square represent a square foot in our floor plan.
Great idea. Let's draw our meeting space as a 10 by 10 room with the Surface Hub and seats around it, and then we'll have a better idea how we might rearrange our space. As you can see, it helps if we have our grid and shapes to work with on the whiteboard. When it comes to collaboration, Surface Hub allows you to connect and share content in real time. One of the best ways Surface Hub enables real-time collaboration is by sharing a whiteboard with other users who can work on it from their own device. To make all of this possible, we have to sign in to Office 365. Once we're signed in, we have access to all of the whiteboards we've created. It also means we're able to share a whiteboard with our team members, and they can open it on their PC or Surface Hub. Any changes that are made can be seen by all the participants. Let's go ahead and sign in on the whiteboard using Office 365 and enter our credentials. We can tell we're signed in because our name appears in the top right corner. Press the back button in the top left corner to see all of our whiteboards. From the list, we can rename and delete whiteboards. If a whiteboard is shared with any colleagues, there'll be a shared icon next to it.
Okay, now that I'm signed in, how do I invite my colleagues to my whiteboard?
Next to your name is the Add People button. Here you can write or type the name of your colleague to grant them access to your whiteboard. Once they join, you'll see their picture appear, and they can write on the whiteboard with you from their device.
I'm going to add some ideas for our next research study over here. Can you see them?
Those are great. Nice job. If I had some pictures, you can write your comments on each one.
Now, I think we should use this one first and then find this one in blue.
It looks like the whiteboard collaboration comes pretty naturally once you get the hang of it.
Signing in to Office 365 is the best way to make sure your whiteboards are saved as you work, since they're stored in the cloud, allowing you to come back to your work whenever you want. After signing in, you can access previously created whiteboards using the board picker. If you can't sign into Office 365, but you need to save your work, you don't need to take a picture of the whiteboard with your phone. Microsoft Whiteboard includes a way to export the image of the whiteboard and send it via email attachment to anyone in the world. To export the whiteboard, open the options and select Export. You'll be able to choose from PNG for basic quality or SVG for a high-resolution image which can be opened in a web browser and is especially useful for capturing all the detail in very large boards. Once you choose the format in the panel that opens, select Email to create an email from the Surface Hub. The whiteboard image will be attached to the email as a PNG or SVG file. Since the email will come from the Surface Hub, all you have to enter is the email address or addresses of the recipients. Entering a name will search the company directory, so you don't have to type the whole email address for people in your organization. Once all the recipients have been added, enter a message to let them know what the email contains or why you're sending it. Then press Send. The recipients will get the email with the whiteboard image file attached, and they can open the file in any image viewing software. Microsoft Whiteboard has a lot more tools that you can use to help bring your ideas to life, and I encourage you to explore the features and try new ways of collaborating with your team. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in Chapter 5, Exploring Surface Hub Apps.